Hi everyone. I don't even know if this is working. It wasn't working earlier, so it's fine. I don't know if this is working. Oh, it's not working. Hi. Hi. Bear's playing on Twitch. She's playing God of War. So I'm not going live on Twitch. I don't even know if this is going to go live on YouTube. Who knows? I talked for like 30 minutes on YouTube, so who knows? Yeah?
How old do I have to be to learn how to make an edit?
I don't know, baby.
I want to learn how to make an edit.
Okay, well.
Because K-Bell knows how to film.
Okay, I need you to stop talking in your baby voice, please.
K-Bell knows how to make videos, and I want to know how to make them.
Okay, well, you can learn how to make videos, but you're not posting them.
I know.
You have to be at least 13, so you got like 4 more years.
I know, I just want to know how to make
Okay,
videos.
again, baby voice.
I just want to know how to make the videos.
Okay, well, I don't know how, so you're going to have to learn. Oh, hi. Hi, Sean. Apparently, Chloe wants to learn how to make video edits on Minecraft because her younger friend knows how to make them. I think the whole reason I'm very protective of my kids, especially because they're all like, well, my friend has a TikTok and my friend has YouTube and can post on YouTube and my friend does this, and I sort of fudged like my oldest daughter because we said they weren't allowed to have phones until they were 13, and I sort of fudged that and I was like, okay, well, my oldest is 11 and she's responsible, and there were other reasons why, but I think it's the reason I'm just so protective is because I know how toxic all of this is of all parents. I mean, and I'm not the only streamer out there, and I'm not the only, and everybody has their own opinions about social media and all of these things, but as my daughters are pretty. I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty girls, and they're very smart, and they're very articulate, and I don't think that in and of itself YouTube's YouTube and Twitch and all of these things are bad, because obviously not. I'm on these platforms, but I'm on these platforms, and it's not that I don't want them to see my content, because my content is rated mature content, so of course they shouldn't be able to see it, but I know how toxic this environment can get and consuming, and I know just for an adult, I how much I've changed just by being exposed, just by having, even in a small part, a public persona, and I don't know if I want my kids to be kids. And it's not that I want them to stay little, because I know that that's not possible. But I'm not in a rush to see them get hurt. I'm not in a rush because I'm already seeing it. My oldest is about to go to middle school, and so I already see. I want them for just a little bit longer to be okay with themselves and be okay with who they are, and you don't get that on social media. As much as I like making content, you don't get that. You have to pander to the audience. You have to listen to the mean comments. You have to. You don't realize it at first. You don't realize at first how much of yourself you're giving away, because it's a little by little. It's a little bit by little bit. Okay, well, I'll do this. I always said I wouldn't do this, but I'll do this. It's not that bad. And you find yourself justifying taking those little compromises. And And the little compromises fucking add up. It doesn't seem like a big deal at first until fast forward to X amount of time later and you're like, how the fuck did I end up here? It's even difficult for adults. Yeah, it's difficult for me. I've found myself in a place that I said I wasn't going to end up again. I found myself experiencing emotions I haven't felt in a very long time here recently, and it fucking sucks. So I try very hard to ask myself, okay, how did I end up here? What are the causes? Cause and effect. Maybe I ended up here because of choices I made. I think I am not a professional. I just want to say that and whatever. I am not a professional. I have no training whatsoever. I just fucking trauma. I have no training, but I do have trauma and some therapy and I want to blame somebody. I want to be angry at somebody. And I want to be hurt about something someone did. And then when you really take that long, hard look and you go, yeah, the other person may have done something to me, that other person may have said something that I didn't like, or may have, wanted me to do something I didn't want to do, or whatever. But in the end, I allowed it. And I know that that's somewhat of like a victim thing, but it's not, because I'm not stupid. I know how to set boundaries, and I didn't. And okay, so I didn't set a boundary, so now's the time to set boundaries. Not everything is my fault. I don't think that. I don't think that's a lot of people like, well, if that's your trauma, you think that you've done everything wrong, that you're always at fault. And that is true to a certain extent. I do, because of the mental and emotional abuse that I've experienced in my life. Yes, and the gaslighting I've experienced and the manipulation I've experienced. Yes, there is a part of me that thinks everything is my fault, but at the same time, there's a difference between thinking that everything's my fault, that's why everything is wrong in my life, and then there is taking accountability for what I allowed and the choices that I made. And that's a big step for me, is like, oh no, they did something wrong. However, it is how I choose to react to it. It's how I chose to receive it, and then it's how I chose to move forward past it. So that is something I'm having to come to terms with. It's again, that's why this is called Random Thoughts, because that's what these are, random. And 2022 was good and bad. It wasn't a mediocre year. It was either really good or really bad. Depending on who you at, like what aspect of my life there was at that point. But I had to do some self-evaluation. And I've been doing some self-evaluation. We are 1 week in. It is the 7th. And I had to evaluate sort of what was next for me. For those of you who don't know, I just turned 40, and I told myself, and I made the joke that 40, if I live to 80, 40 is about halfway, right? And I hope I live to 80. Let's hope. Let's hope that the nuclear fallout doesn't happen before I'm 40, before I'm 80. But that means that I'm halfway. And what do I want for Act 2? What do I want for myself? What do I want to see my life? What do I want my life to look like? And I don't want to be defined by Act 1 either. I don't want to be defined by that. I don't want to think, okay, well, I have this trauma from my childhood, which I do, and that does affect who I am, but I don't want it to define who I am. I just don't. I want it to teach me some things, and I want to help other people, but I don't want to define who I am. And there's a lot of things I don't want to be defined by anymore. And I have to come to terms with that. I think it's because, what do I want? And for somebody who, again, was raised the way I was raised, and just all the things and people that have fucked me up in the past 40 years, it has done a number on exactly being able to define what I want and who I am. Because I have spent a lot of time trying to be whatever anyone else wanted. Be it the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect girlfriend, whatever it is that I thought that they wanted. And I was not being, I hate the word authentic self. I really do. I don't know why. Something about it just rubs me the wrong way. I think maybe it's because it's overused, and I think it's, so many people are like, I want to speak my authentic truth and my authentic self. And you're not really being authentic. I think that's why I hate the word and I hate the phrase. I just want to be honest. I want to be honest with myself, and I want to be honest with the people around me. I want to speak I didn't even speak my truth. It's also another one I just want to be fucking honest. I want to be real, and I want to be honest. And I want that honesty to bleed over into my Act 2. And, so, yeah. There are certain parts of my life that have been total trash here lately. Trash. And for the past month, 6 weeks, I've been struggling mentally. I've been wrestling with a very dark and hard episode of depression. And great thing about having functional depression is that you get up every day and you go to work and you live your life and you feel disconnected. And on top of that, you have this battle going on inside your head and your soul, if you have one. I mean, you may not. I sold mine a long time ago. And it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle to stream. It's been a struggle to just function. And I feel alone. And I'm not saying this for pity, and I'm not saying this, and I realize that me saying that is a trauma response. I get that, but I'm not saying that for content. I'm saying that because I think I should be honest. I haven't been open with what I needed or just any of it, because I'm some days I'm struggling to just breathe. And I know that there are people out there who feel that way too. Before the new year, there was a day that was very rough. Very, very rough. To the point that it frightened me. And yeah. And I think it almost scared me into reality. I think that it was one of those, you hit bottom, and that's when you hit bottom, and that's when you come to reality, and you're like, fuck. And yeah, so it hasn't been all bad. There have been good times and laughs and moments, and I'm not saying that because I am going through an episode that there haven't been things and people that haven't brought me happiness and joy, and I haven't done things that have. But depression is not something that you can explain. It's not something, and everybody experiences it differently. And yeah, everybody experiences depression differently, and they express it differently. And I think that the hard part, especially for me, is that I get up every day, and because of my trauma and my upbringing and all of this stuff, I have learned it's a learned behavior of masking it. I can get up every day and I can put on the mask and I can function. And and so when I say I'm going through an episode, a lot of people look at me with this look of, but you seem fine. Okay. Looks can be fucking deceiving. Because if when you're not laying in bed and you showered and you put on makeup and you dress nice and you're able to love on your children and you're able to cook, that doesn't mean I'm not depressed. Doesn't mean I'm not going through an episode. That doesn't mean that my head is fucking screwed up. Or how I'm feeling is any less valid just because I'm making a choice to function. And I think that that's why I'm trying to be more honest with people. Because so many people, and I've been thinking about this there's been some celebrity self-harm situations, and so many people are like, well, I had no idea. And they're celebrities, so we don't know their life, but I have known people who have come to that, they're like, we had no idea. Well, no. And I think what I want, and maybe the whole point of this whole live and is just I encourage people who maybe have never experienced depression. I encourage people who maybe have, and I mean, haven't in a while, or everyone deals with their mental health differently. Everyone, and yes, there are some, common factors, but just because I get up every day and function, and just because I get on a stream and I can smile and look pretty, just because I choose to internalize what I'm going through, doesn't make what I'm going through any less valid. And just because I am choosing to deal with it the way I deal with it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So don't believe everything on the fucking internet. How about that? Rule number 1. Don't believe the fucking internet. Don't believe goddamn social media. It's all a fucking joke. I made a promise to myself that I would be more honest with myself and the people I care about, and just my community in general. I fell away from that. I fell away from that. I'm that's 100% honest. I fell away from what and why I started streaming in the first place. I fell away with why I developed Nerd Mom Ace and why I'd have this charity. I have the Fight Against the Sadness charity, and I moved away, and I have Waking Up with Nana and Pep Pep, and even that has sort of moved away from the intended purpose. And the intended purpose is to put my shit out there and to help others, people like me, and that my content should not be customized to trying to get followers and trying to get subscribers, and it shouldn't be customized, because the whole point of why I stream, why I do what I do, is one, it's just trying to make that maybe make me not feel so alone. Maybe it's easier, and it is easier to talk to a screen because I can't see your face. It's a disconnect. It's a disconnect, and I know that. So it's a little therapeutic for me, that I can able to talk about it, and I feel like there's no consequences, even though there are. I mean, I'm aware, and it's also to help other people not feel like they are alone, that maybe me saying I am suffering and I'm dealing and I am struggling, maybe, and they're like, it can help somebody else not feel so alone. And I think the other thing is why I especially like with Dinks with Kinks and that content, I like the sexuality content, the kink content, I want to normalize sexuality. I want to make it accessible and not in that dirty, like, OF, pay for, like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that because I'm like, I have friends who are on it. You do you, that's great. But there are people out there who have these thoughts and these feelings and these questions about their sexuality, about their kinks, and they don't have that safe space to talk about it or to feel about it. And And honestly, there are very few therapists who, and I hope that that changes soon, that who are open to talk about how they feel in that department. I think my friend Miko is really good about that. Like, she's very open about that, and I love her for it. I think she's amazing, and I think it, but that doesn't mean that I'm out there because and I'm talking sex, and I want to be comfortable in my sexuality, and the kink community doesn't mean that I'm out there for attention, that I'm out there, I'm just, oh, and I'm out there to just, whatever. The whole fucking reason that I stream and the whole reason that I enjoy doing what I'm doing is because I want to connect, and I want to encourage, and I don't give a shit about reinventing myself or remaining relevant. I don't give a shit about remaining relevant, because it's not about that. Because I am relevant just as I am. I don't want to be trendy. I never have been. I don't want to be anything other than me. I am a Roogs from the internet. I am also Rebecca. And I'm also Anna. And it was fun, and it is fun to be a Roogs. And it is fun and empowering to be Rebecca. But the reality is I don't need those personas anymore to be me. And I think that the more comfortable I became and I am becoming in who I am and what I want for my act 2 and for what I want my life to look like, as I move into a different phase of my life, I don't need them anymore, because I'm no longer pretending to be whatever it is what I think somebody else wants. So they got out of control. Rebecca got out of control. Arubes got out of control. And I'm going to reel that back in a little bit. I would like to become more of a solid person. I'd like to be more me. And I would like the world to be and see me. Well, I don't want the world to be me because I'm broken. But the world is already broken, so I feel like we're on the same page. Oh, yay for broken people. So there's my random rambling thoughts. I know I've gone live twice today, but I don't know if the first one posted, so fuck it. If it did, great. If it didn't, well, whatever. At least I know this one's posting because somebody's Sean's commenting. I am not taking shit anymore. This is what you get. I'm Anna. It's nice to meet you. I have several nicknames, but they are just nicknames. They are no longer going to be personas. So I'm going to make that incredibly clear. Aroogs is a nickname. It is no longer a persona. Rebecca is a nickname. It is not a persona. I am Anna. It's one person And the road ahead will be fun and pretty rocky, and probably a lot of falling on my ass and a lot of crying and struggling and sleepless nights. Last night hit me pretty hard, and for a lot of things and a lot of reasons. And when you hit bottom and you realize that you've hit bottom, wherever your bottom is, regardless of whatever that looks like, you can either sit down and wallow, or you can start climbing. And so I don't want to wallow. I did my wallowing, and it's not going to be instant, and it's not going to be overnight. And I think that that's going to be the hardest part. It's like, yeah, I want to be better. And it's not how it works. I just have to find grace and remember that baby steps, small changes, small choices do add up. I didn't get here overnight. I didn't make one large mistake and then all of a sudden here I am. I made a lot of small compromises and choices to end up here where I'm at mentally and emotionally, and now I'm going to need to make choices to turn that around. And I will not apologize for the choices that I make, and I will not apologize for the mistakes that I make, because the mistakes are how I learn, and I will no longer be apologizing for who I am and for my struggles and for what I'm going through and for what I want and what I need. And that's fucking scary. I don't know about you, but it's fucking scary. It's scary as fuck. Because when you've spent as much time and energy apologizing for just existing, when you've spent so much time and energy just being scared to ask for the simple basic needs, your needs, and not even just wants, but just your needs. It's scary because you learn, it is a learned behavior. It is a learned behavior, and I am aware of that you learn that your needs don't matter. You learn that how to justify why your needs aren't important. You learn to justify why somebody else can't give you what you need and why their justification it makes sense. And you learn how you learn to feel needy. You learn to feel like you're too much. You learn to feel and justify all these. It's and I have to unlearn it. And I'm 40, and I'm having to unlearn 40 years of fucking damage. So it's going to take me some time. It's going to take me some time. It's not going to happen overnight. But I have to start somewhere. Just like you have to start exercising. And it's not going to be easy. And the first week is fucking dying. And first couple of weeks, you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? And then you get on the scale and you haven't lost any weight. But joke's on you, even after 2 or 3 weeks you working out and your muscles are broken down, so they're swollen, but they're also repairing themselves at the time. So it's that point of, okay, you've worked out, I'm working out, I'm working hard, and I'm not losing weight. Well, you may not be losing weight on the scale, but that doesn't mean you're not getting stronger. And that's the one thing I've learned from starting to work out is, and working out just for the past, since the pandemic, and getting healthier, is I was getting frustrated because I wasn't losing weight, or I wasn't, progressing as fast as I thought I should, and or whatever. But what I wasn't noticing is how much stronger I was getting, because I was just doing it every day, and I was just I was working on it every day, and I don't notice until one day I look back and I realize I just did 20 push-ups on my toes, full on dead ass push-ups, and I couldn't do that 3 months ago. Who the fuck am I? So you just have to keep at it, and that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm not going to expect it to change overnight, and I'm not going to expect to do that all overnight, but I'm going to just keep working at it every day and make a choice, and that's okay. And I am not needy because I have needs. I'm not too much because I have a personality. I am not asking too much. It's not like I'm freaking asking, And it's amazing how far back that learned behavior goes, and how much it just instills into the rest of your life. I'm not a burden. I'm not too much. And I've got some work to do. And that's fucking scary. So in the end, I just need everyone, I'm asking for a little grace from my community and from my friends and my loved ones and the people that care about me. And understand, I'm not doing any of this to be mean or hateful or awful or because I don't care. I'm doing it because I should start loving myself just as much as I love the people in my life. And that's not selfish. That's self-care. And that's okay. I should not be afraid to ask for what I need. I should not be afraid to express how I feel. I should not be afraid to share my thoughts. And all of those things I am. I'm afraid to share my thoughts. That's a whole nother episode of shit. I am no longer going to subscribe to that. So, with that, I think I've been ending this for 10 minutes now. Thanks for listening. And yeah, here's to seeing what 2023 brings. Here's to fucking up, and here's to fixing it. Here's to being broken and putting ourselves back together. And here is to finding ourselves and losing the shit. So I guess I'll talk to you guys later.